Phrasal verbs are an essential element in the repertoire of every successful user of English. There are many ways to approach learning them, and in this short video we're going to focus on co-text and context. But firstly, let's look at some phrasal verbs just to make sure we're all on the same page. Back down, cut down on, build up, clean out. So you can see that in all of these phrasal verbs, each one starts with a verb and is followed by one or two little words known as particles. These are either prepositions or adverbs, or sometimes both in the case of three-word phrasal verbs. Faff about, gun down, hush up, meddle in, settle down, zoom in on. Phrasal verbs are a crucial part of English, appearing frequently in spoken and written forms across casual and formal contexts. As a key feature of idiomatic English, mastering phrasal verbs is essential for understanding cultural nuances and connotations. Dialogues provide natural settings where vocabulary and grammar interact. So here you can see a dialogue between Marek and Kasia, and they use phrasal verbs all the time. It's the most natural thing in the world for us to do. So we're talking about the reasons for studying phrasal verbs. So you've probably already got a pretty good idea of the answer to this question. Here are 4 good reasons. Learning phrasal verbs enhances your idiomaticity and your fluency. And it's crucial for grasping subtleties in English and for becoming culturally aware. Now, one of the features of phrasal verbs that is necessary to study is their co-text. Now, what is co-text? Well, co-text refers to words, phrases, and grammatical structures surrounding the target word. You probably remember the word valency from chemistry. It's the combining power of an element. And words, believe it or not, work in the same way. So, in these examples, we can see some phrasal verbs here combining with ing forms of the following verbs. Carry on, doing something. Keep on, doing something. Give up, doing something. On this slide, we can see that the phrasal verb is followed by a to infinitive. Go on to do something, settle down to do something, turn out to be something, or turn out to do something. So these are other examples of co-text. Now, we can encode co-text along with their typical subjects and objects. And this is a really important feature of studying vocabulary in general, and it particularly applies to phrasal verbs. So we can ask the question about the phrasal verb strike up. Who or what strikes up? And what do they strike up? So it's usually a person that strikes up something. And what do they strike up? They strike up conversations. You can strike up a friendship or a relationship or a partnership. And a musician, not just any old someone, but a musician can strike up a tune. Some more examples of this. Someone breaks in new employees or team members or students. It's like what we call onboarding these days. Or if it's not a person which is new, but something which is new, like a piece of equipment or an instrument or a procedure or a system or a vehicle, you can break that in by getting used to using it in that first period. Another example we've got here is bring about. And whereas we had a person as the subject of the verb, with the verb bring about, we don't have a person, but we have things like social or political change, events or situations, etc. And what do they bring about? They bring about change, reform, achievements, social impact, etc. So we don't only have people, sometimes we have things as the subject of the verb. And in some cases, verbs do not have objects. Here we've got a building or a business or an industrial facility or a historical landmark burns down. It doesn't burn down something, it burns down. Now somebody can burn something down, but that's a different use of the verb. So sometimes we've got people as the subject, sometimes we've got things as the subject, and sometimes we don't have objects at all. Now you remember these phrasal verbs from the beginning of this presentation, and if we ask these same questions of these, who or what backs down? Who or what cuts down on, and what do they cut down on? Who or what builds up? What do they build up? Subject, verb, object. Somebody cleans out something. Somebody faffs about. No object. Somebody guns down someone or something. Probably that sounds a little bit like mafia. Somebody guns down somebody. Somebody hushes up something. So probably not anyone hushes up, but perhaps a government minister hushes up something which is embarrassing. Somebody meddles in something, somebody settles down. No object, but usually somebody settles down somewhere. So that's a place, but it's not a thing. And then someone zooms in on something, subject, verb, object. So these word templates are incredibly valuable, and we can research them using our corpus tools. Now to turn to context. So context refers to real-world situations where language is used. Quite different from cotext, which is the words and structures used before and after our target word. Recognizing context helps you know when and where certain phrasal verbs fit best. So we'll see with this example of keep on followed by ing that this structure, the phrasal verb and its structure, is mostly used in literature and movie subtitles and engineering, etc. So these are the topic distribution according to the Corpus Mate database or corpus. So when we're using our tools like ChatGPT, Scale, Corpus Mate and Youglish, these things can help you enhance your learning considerably. They are a way that you can explore the cotext and context more actively, and nothing is more important than active vocabulary study. As you are doing this active study, you're making important observations. So the question then is, what do you do with your findings? Well, like any scientist, you need to record your findings. And this is a very strong learning process, recording your findings. So I'd say we're ready now to start our phrasal verb journey. You can explore the cotext and context, and you know what these things are now. You can take charge of your learning journey, and that independence is very important in your language learning. You are the only person who can learn. Your teachers and your course books can advise you how to learn and what to learn, but students have to do the learning. So you are now equipped to dive deeper into this aspect of idiomatic English.